This story sounds fake, but it is not. Amazon shuts down customers' smart home devices after delivery drivers' false racism claims, and we actually have a statement from Amazon now. Amazon shut off a man's smart home devices for a week after a delivery driver falsely accused the customer of hurling a racial slur via a doorbell intercom, the tech giant confirmed Thursday. So yeah, everyone has these video doorbells nowadays that you can speak through so that you can greet people at your door even if you're not home, and Ring, which is owned by Amazon, actually has the largest market share. They sold 1.7 million units in 2021, and apparently a delivery driver claimed that the owner of one of them shouted a racial slur at the delivery driver through the video doorbell. Any guess on who this gentleman is? You're wrong. This is the guy who owns the doorbell and is being accused of hurling the racial slur. Brandon Jackson, who is black, said that he found himself digitally exiled by the company on May 25th, less than 24 hours after an Amazon delivery driver dropped off a package at his home and reported him for being racist. Jackson went and reviewed all the footage to see what actually happened, and it turns out that the doorbell gave the automated response of "Excuse me, can I help you?" and the delivery driver, who was wearing headphones, apparently misheard that and thought it was some kind of racist remark and reported it. Jackson insisted he supported Amazon taking extra precautions to protect delivery drivers, but questioned why he had to be locked out of his account for a week as an internal probe was carried out. Quote, "Despite promptly submitting video evidence immediately upon learning of the issue, my account remained locked," he said. The big problem here is that Jackson had a ton of devices connected to his Amazon account, including control of the lights in his house. So to be locked out is a huge problem, much bigger than just not being able to use your doorbell. I mean, Amazon in particular is an absolute giant. They control nearly 50% of all US e-commerce. They're getting into hardware with the Echo and Alexa. They have the Ring doorbell system and security cameras. There are just so many Amazon devices that it's easy to find yourself dependent on the company before you even know it. And that's one of the big takeaways from this. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around, and we're going to get to it. But one of the big takeaways is that you shouldn't centralize your life around one tech company, because we have seen time and time again, they will ban people for pretty much arbitrary reasons, because if you look into their terms of service, if you look into their community guidelines, they keep them very vague and use very loose terminology on purpose. For example, they might say you can't harass people. But if you say, okay, well, what is harassment so I make sure I don't cross any line? Well, you're not going to find the answer to that, because they want the ability to remove anyone from their platform and services at any time for any reason. Next up on the blame train, of course, is the Amazon delivery driver. If you are going to levy an accusation at someone, especially one as serious in today's culture as racism, you better be dang sure that you heard what you thought you heard. And in this case, the driver was wearing headphones, obviously didn't hear anything even close to racism, but was confident enough to call into corporate Amazon and have this guy's account locked out. Next on the train is the culture in the United States, which is actually the driving factor behind all of this. Currently in the US, if you are a victim, you are rewarded with attention, with opportunities, and people are searching far and wide for reasons why they have been victimized or persecuted, especially when it comes to matters of race. It's so bad that people will fabricate stories about how they were victims of racism. We saw it in NASCAR with the garage door rope being called a noose. We saw it with Jussie Smollett making up and orchestrating a racist attack. So it's not surprising that racism is on everyone's mind and everyone is looking for reasons to say they are a victim. And in this case, the driver found one. Last but not least on the blame train is, of course, Amazon, the company, which took an accusation, just an accusation, and said that was enough to lock this man out of all his Amazon devices. They couldn't even take the time to call him first and get his side of the story. Not only that, but they didn't even inform Jackson that all of this was coming or that it happened. He was just suddenly locked out of all his devices and then reached out to Amazon to see what was going on, and that's when he learned of the situation. In a statement, an Amazon spokesperson confirmed the ordeal and said the company was working to prevent similar situations from happening in the future. Quote, "In this case, we learned through our investigation that the customer did not act inappropriately, and we're working directly with the customer to resolve their concerns while also looking at ways to prevent a similar situation from happening again." Now, I would be more sympathetic to Amazon if this was a complex and convoluted situation with a lot of moving parts, but that's not what happened at all. A single employee made a baseless accusation with no evidence to back it up, and you acted rashly and irresponsibly and didn't even do a hint of research before punishing the customer, so spare me your blanket PR statement. People warned about situations like this when smart home devices first started to hit the market, but those concerns were brushed aside as crazy talk, and yet, here we are. Now, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to catch more interesting stories. My name's Ryan. This is NewsRye. I'll see you in the next one.